Okay, so if you're having some trouble with it, some troubleshooting things are, it's looking for these specific markers. So if you're not seeing it, recognizing them, then that's obviously a problem, and has to get a certain distance before it recognizes it. So like right now it hasn't recognized, it's too far away to recognize this one here, right? So when it gets closer, you'll see on this little display that it will then recognize it. Let's give it a moment here. I'm gonna kind of take away his block, and you can see where it gets to when it recognizes it. Okay, now it's starting to recognize it. So if it doesn't recognize it, or a block, it should stop. So I am waiting for a new supply request. Like if I were to launch this guy off. I have received a request for more supplies. I can't find my cube. So he can't find the cube. That's what he's complaining about. It'll do the same thing with markers. So now I put it there, you can clearly see it can recognize it, right? So once when this happens, it pauses it. So you can see it's paused right here. So you can just fix the scenario and then push play again. And he should just pick up where he left off. So you can correct any little mistakes like that. So like I said, the button's a new addition. You have to kind of push it once and it'll like glow blue for a long time, and then it's connected, and you can see on this little interface down the bottom corner, as I push the button, it highlights so you know it's working, basically. And if you don't want to use it, you can just uncheck this. That disables use of the button, and it just skips and uses a timer instead. Other things to know is there's some, I created 2 different varieties of this this solar panel program. So this is the default one that you just saw, but there's a second one in which each time, so this basic one is it'll keep going until he runs low on batteries, and then he'll go back to his charging station, and then he'll come out again. But this one is one in which he returns to his charger every loop, basically, and then you can summon him by pushing the button, basically. Or if you disable the button, he just waits a little bit and then he comes back out, or if his batteries are low, he'll just recharge and then come back out. So there's a couple different options, but other than that, these are basically the same. And then this restock one is still work in progress. I don't know how much more time we have that we can sink into this, so it's I don't know, you might have to scrap that. I'm not sure. You can test things like this little drive to marker one. We can just you can verify that it's seeing a marker, right, by running this guy. And he should say, yeah, I can't find the marker. So then we push it up and we run it again. And now he can find it, and he can move right up to it. So you can do those tests. You can also, there's another one in here to test just the buttons, like this drive in a square using buttons. So, for this one, you can run it, and he'll kind of move one leg of the square. I disabled the button, so he's skipping all this. I'm gonna enable the button here. Press the button. There you go. So now that it's enabled, and now when I push it, he'll get going again, right? Press the button. So if you run into a scenario in which all of a sudden the button's not working and you're having trouble, you can then, like, while it's waiting for the button, you can just uncheck that, and he'll skip the button altogether, basically, all that waiting. So those are definitely some things you can test. You also want to make sure, you know, your range is good, that maybe you're not recognizing the markers. So like about there is where he does that one. So, you know, I can clearly see that it recognizes it. And I kind of overheard you guys might be running these outside. So that might be something to test, is like what the range is outside to view it. I mean, hopefully it would be better than indoors. I definitely find that the brighter the light is, the farther away it can recognize it. So, as you know, I hope that helps and you can get farther with your testing.